Somebody else that's going to be disappointed at Liverpool is Naby Keita. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one because there's noise in Germany. His agent is German. That he's not too happy at Liverpool with his own situation, his game time. I mean, I was so excited when they signed him from Leipzig because he looked such a perfect club player, everything. And then between the injuries, I think the times where he dropped his confidence, maybe he's had some really good games. But overall, he's been more of a disappointment for someone you paid 60 odd million for, whatever it was.
Would you say it's been one of Klopp's slight failures with Naby Keita? Because Klopp always seems to get the best out of players. He hasn't got the best out of Naby Keita.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's on Klopp's or if it's on Keita's himself. But the fact that at some point, I think they thought about a contract extension. Now it doesn't look to be so much the case. I can understand why he gets a bit frustrated, but again, I think it's also on him, this situation, and I don't know where he's going to go. I just don't think Liverpool can right now be without Naby Keita as another option in midfield, because
Absolutely
then
not,
they would definitely be too lightweight in that position. Right, we mentioned Tanguy Kouassi. There's another Tanguy on the move, Robo. It's Tanguy Ndombele this time, who is finalising his loan to Napoli from Tottenham. You know Serie A well, Robo. Do you think he will succeed there? Do you think he's got everything to do well?
I thought he'd succeed at Spurs because when he was at Lyon, along with Aouar, they were an excellent midfield partnership. Yeah. He could turn with the ball, he could see a pass, he looked a good athlete. At Spurs, he lost confidence, he lost his fitness, he obviously fell out with Mourinho, which is never a good thing. No. I think he's got all the attributes to be a top-class player. If he's got the mental side of his game right and he gets himself fully fit, there's no reason why he can't be an exceptional player for Napoli. And
they will lose Fabian Ruiz probably to PSG, so there'll be room in that midfield for sure.
He's certainly a good player.
Yeah.
Another interesting deal made this week is the arrival of Matheus Nunes at Wolves. Who is he, Jules?
Yeah, he's a very talented player from Sporting, Robo. One of those like creative, even like deeper playmaker that Portuguese football have produced in the last few years. I mean, we saw Vitinha in PSG, we saw Fabio Vieira. Yeah. We haven't seen him at Arsenal, but Arsenal have signed him.
Vitinho type player?
Yeah, although more, I think better on the ball in terms of dribbling and and he can go one-on-one. He's got a bit of a Kevin De Bruyne about him in running with the ball and driving the ball forward.
You've built him up now.
No, but I think he's a wonderful talent. I mean, I don't have an issue with him going to Wolves. And I think he's the 26th Portuguese player to sign for Wolves since Fosun bought the club, and Jorge Mendes is the unofficial sporting director, which I find that crazy. But they've done a lot of good job with the Portuguese players, and I've got no problem with that. I think he's got everything to do well in England. We might maybe need a bit of time to adapt, and we saw the likes of Neto taking a bit of time to adapt, but I've got no doubt that he's got the talent to do well there. And I just can't wait now. It's one of those signings where you're going to watch the next Wolves game where he plays because you want to see him and see how good he is compared to what he was at Sporting. So again, well done to him. Welcome to the Premier League and well done to Wolves again, even if they got a bit of help from Uncle George, of course. West Ham fans won't have heard much more of Thilo Kehrer than Matheus Nunes. Kehrer, who West Ham just signed from PSG, he's a versatile defender, Robo. He's young and was quite cheap. Did they need a centre-back, did you feel, especially after Issa Diop left for Fulham?
Yes, because that was the criticism of West Ham and David Moyes last season. Yeah. They were doing well up till Christmas. And they had a couple of injuries at centre-back. They knew they had a couple of injuries and they didn't go and buy anybody. Yeah. If you are going to play in Europe and you are trying to get into the top four, you are going to have injuries, so you need backup players. Kehrer, I think, is a good player. I saw him a lot when he was playing for the German youth sides. He obviously played at right back quite a bit for PSG. Yeah. So he's a versatile player, the right back Kufal is not always going to be available for West Ham, so he can fill a couple of positions. So I think it's a good signing for West Ham.
I agree.
Now, to replace Zinchenko, who left for Arsenal, Man City have signed Sergio Gomez from Anderlecht. And again, many fans won't know who he is, but a good signing?
Very good signing, Robo. I mean, he's very, very much like Zinchenko. He was a number 10 or wide player before, and that's why he's so good on the ball. And defensively, I think he will have absences and there's work to be done there, but for what Pep wants his left back to do, I think he would be perfect. I'm surprised there was no other clubs, considering the season he had at Anderlecht in Belgium. I'm surprised that no other big club or kind of biggish clubs were going for him because he was quite cheap in the end, just over the £10 million mark, which I think is a great piece of business. We saw what Zinchenko is already brought to Arsenal, and maybe you didn't see how much City would miss him because of Cancelo. But Cancelo cannot play every minute of every single game this season. So having Gomez there as a backup, who I think will do really well with Pep. It's a good piece of business, I think, for Man City, who sold Zinchenko for 30 and, got profit on Gomez then. Perfect. Another left back, Pervis Estupiñán. He's the new Brighton left back after the departure of Marco Correa, of course. Another very clever signing from them. Again, Robo, isn't it? Because you've seen him in La Liga and he's a really good left back.
Yeah, and the way the Villarreal play, they allowed him to get forward. He almost played like a left wing back, even when they were playing with a back four.
Yeah.
They sort of shuffled across, and the right back came in to become a centre half, and he played high up the field. The left-sided midfield player went in field, and he gets cross after cross into the box. I think he's a good athlete. He loves to get forward. Again, as we say about most fullbacks these days, I'm not sure about his defensive qualities, but certainly going forward, he's going to be an exceptional player and another good son, very similar to Kehrer in his way, in the way he plays.
Cheap. I think the release clause was 18 million euros, something crazy like that. Yeah,
and I saw him last season a lot, and he played well.
Yeah,
I think they've already got a replacement for him.
Guess who's back, Robo? Or almost back, at least. Willian is training for Fulham. Remember Willian? Of course you do. After terminating his contract with Corinthians, would it be a good signing for Fulham? Do they need him? He's 34 years old.
When you saw him play, when I first saw him play for the Brazilian junior sides and the national team, he was magnificent. When he first came to Chelsea, I thought he put in some great performance. It all depended who was the manager of Chelsea, whether they liked him or disliked him.
Yeah.
And of course, he went to Arsenal, and I thought it was going to be a good signing for Arsenal. I thought he'd have that little bit of experience. He'd use his ability. It wasn't the case. He's not going to be any better than he was at Arsenal another year on. So I don't think it's a good signing for Fulham. That would be my understanding of it. Now, many Nottingham Forest fans, Jules, cannot believe the name of their potential new recruit.
So, as you know, they've recruited 1 million players, which is great. But the next one might be the most special one because it's Houssem Aouar from Lyon, a player that you've commentated on a lot, that you saw a lot in the Champions League, that I've been following since he was a very, very young kid. And whose name is usually associated with Arsenal or Manchester City or Liverpool, who were all at some point very interested in him. And for I think for Forest to get him, which right now they're still talking to Lyon on the structure of a deal, but I believe it's not a problem.
So why haven't some of those bigger clubs gone in for him in the last year or so?
Yeah, I think last season was very disappointing from him.
So maybe stayed at Lyon one season too long?
Maybe, although you could see why he wanted, because now he's got only 1 year left on his contract, so the fee is much less than what it would have been a year ago. But yeah, I think that put off maybe a lot of big teams, that the fact that he didn't have any consistency. He was not good. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clear. He was not good at all last season. But what a coup it would be for Forest, I think. If Steve Cooper can get the best Houssem Aouar back, and he's only 24 years old, so it's not like if, I
remember seeing him in a Champions League game against Man City.
Yeah, the final eight. He
was outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
And even that semi-final after against Bayern, he was pretty good. So that Houssem Aouar would be a huge signing, I think, for Forest, for sure.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.